G'day there guys, I won't lie, I had a ton of fun recording today's episode. There were 3 juicy, fun stories with some morals bouncing all over the place. So if you guys love r/AmiTheA, be sure to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbecue, and get ready for today's bloody good posts. Thank you. Our first post is by user, The Bad Sister-in-Law Makeup, titled, Am I the a-hole for outshining the bride because of my makeup? So the wedding happened a week ago, and my husband keeps trying to make me feel guilty about this, even though I don't think I'm the a-hole and don't understand what the big deal is. I have been doing makeup professionally for the entirety of my adult life. When I found out my husband's brother proposed to my now sister-in-law, I was truly excited for them. I even asked my sister-in-law if she would like me to do her makeup for free. She said no because one of her friends already offered to do sister-in-law's makeup. Sister-in-law then said she didn't really like the style of the makeup I do. I do tend to go for more dramatic makeup looks, especially if I'm going out. Sister-in-law, on the other hand, is a tomboy, and I honestly can't even think of a time that I've seen her with makeup. However, I don't judge her for this, and I think she looks beautiful without wearing makeup. So when she said she didn't like the way I did my makeup, I was kind of butthurt, but I understood. However, just because I like flashier makeup doesn't mean my clients have to too. So fast forward to last Saturday, the day of the wedding. My sister-in-law looked lovely, as expected, and her makeup was fine. It looked like she was wearing a peach eyeshadow, mascara, and a blush that matched her eyeshadow. By wedding standards, this was very minimalistic, but it suited her. Me, on the other hand, was wearing a full face of makeup, which looked pretty close to this. After the ceremony was over, I went to congratulate and talk to my sister-in-law, but once she saw me, she was curt and giving me the cold shoulder. Throughout the week, I've been getting intel from my husband and my other sister-in-law that apparently she was upset that I had pulled out all the stops on my face, despite knowing that she was going for a more natural look, and that because we had already talked about it, I should have known to tone my look down. Frankly, I did put it on a little thick, as they say, but it's not like I was wearing crazy colors or a revealing dress. I keep getting crap from my husband and in-laws because I couldn't tone it down for one night, or that I was trying to steal attention from her. I feel like I'm crazy because that's just how I like to present myself. I want to look nice. I thought I had a pretty decent relationship with my sister-in-law until now. So, am I the a-hole? Edit. A commenter brought up a good point, and to be 100% fair, I think I should note that that side of the family is fairly conservative or prudish. But also, I've been married to my husband for a significant amount of time, and they've seen me with my glam makeup on, and have previously received compliments on it at family events, so I didn't think it would be a problem. This to me just sounds like a clash of beliefs, but I also believe it's not something that you can tell someone to do at your wedding. I'm all for setting guidelines on what people wear. You don't want them to be showing up in a wedding dress, for example, at your wedding. That's a very extreme example of what's going on here. But to get upset at OP for wearing a full face of makeup just because you're a conservative person? What? People wear full faces of makeup to weddings all the time. I'd say it's one of the best excuses to dress up and look your best. I mean, if you want to wear a thin layer of makeup, not that much makeup, you're more than welcome to, but I feel like if you're going to get pissed off at them for wearing as much makeup as they want to, that's on you, that's not on OP. I think they're more than within their rights to be pissed off, but I think their anger is unjust, and I think OP is not the a-hole in this situation. And in the comments, AddPuzzleheaded3823 says, I'm really torn on this one because, from the language you use in writing this, it's coming across that you may have been trying to upstage your sister-in-law out of spite. You also kind of speak negatively in a passive-aggressive way about her look. At the same time though, it also seems like she didn't actually talk to you. She just expected you to intuitively know what kind of look she would be doing and to tone down your makeup accordingly. So I'm just going to go, everyone sucks here. I agree with this. It sounds like OP knew what she was doing, because as she said, she was butthurt and wanted to show her future sister-in-law what she can do. For a family wedding, I think people expect their family to match the tone of the wedding. If you know the bride is a minimalist, then you dial it down for one day. That is supposed to be about the couple, not everyone else who was invited. And OP replies, whenever she declined, I was butthurt, but I didn't dwell on it. I offered because I know makeup artists can be expensive and could have given her more of a natural look if she had taken me up on the offer. Generally, I just wanted her to be happy, which is why I didn't dwell on her comment. I didn't want to spite her and actively respect anyone's choice not to wear makeup. But I showed up how I would have showed up to any other event or wedding. With that said, you make a good point here. Quote, if you know the bride is a minimalist, then you dial it down. End quote. I honestly didn't think she would have cared, but this is worth bringing up when I apologize and talk to her about it. And Books and Dancing replies, did you mention when you initially offered that you'd do a more natural look to suit her preferences? Have you ever done a more natural look on yourself and others, and has she seen examples of that? I think without explicitly explaining what you would do, then it's pretty a-hole-ish of you to even be hurt by her refusal. I was a bridesmaid for a friend who initially didn't want to wear any makeup for her wedding. Not because she doesn't like makeup, but because she didn't want to pay for an artist and was not confident enough in her abilities to consistently do it well. When I first offered, admittedly somewhat selfishly because I, as a bridesmaid, would defo be wearing makeup and didn't want to outshine the bride, she was reluctant because what I do for myself wasn't to her tastes. But I sat her down and showed her some natural bridal looks, and we found stuff that she wanted. And I did her makeup accordingly. We even did a couple test runs, one of which for her engagement party, so her fiancé had a chance to see. Another reason she was concerned about makeup was if he would like it or not, and everyone was pleased with the look. And then for the wedding, even though I wanted to go more glam, I did a very subdued, natural look for myself, because no one wants to be the one outshining the bride. I don't think you're a super raging a-hole, but you did miss the mark here. I think a simple apology would go a long way, and if it doesn't, then she's the a-hole. The Mirror's Truth says, not the a-hole. She's in the wedding dress, all eyes are on her. If she wanted a flashier look, that's her problem, but it's not up to her how you do your makeup, and didn't even directly discuss it with you. And Whimsical Mara says, you're the a-hole. It's clear, reading in between the lines, that you wanted to show up your tomboy sister-in-law and remind everyone that you were the most beautiful woman at the ball, even though on her wedding day, the bride should be the belle of the ball. Quote, I'd pulled out all the stops on my face. I did put on a little thick, as they say. They have seen me with my glam makeup on and have previously received compliments on it at family events. Never mind. Don't have to read between the lines. You come right out and admit it. Same with your feelings about the sister-in-law. And there's these comments here. Your poor sister-in-law. She's not competing with you, but you sure are competing with her. Edit. Look at it this way, folks. If I was at a wedding, a funeral, a graduation, an awards ceremony, or any other sort of social gathering where the focus is supposed to be on a specific person or a group of people, and someone went out of their way to be the center of attention or draw attention to themselves and away from the people who should be the focus of the ceremony, I'm gonna think they're a jerk. I don't care if they are a costume designer, a celebrity, or makeup artists. They drew attention away from the person who is supposed to be the center of attention, and just because it's their passion doesn't change the fact that they went out of their way to stand out when they didn't have to. It's called courtesy and grace, letting other people shine and to have their special moment. Adults should not have to be asked to do so, but should be mature enough to read the situation and put someone else first. It's getting a bit long, I apologize, but this is the last comment, and I agree with this one more. It's in reply to that last one by Kim Berries. Have you never met a makeup addict or professional makeup artist? They go all out for no reason sometimes. It's their hobby. They will go no holds barred at a formal event. If sister-in-law wanted her to tone it down from her normal formal look, which is what I think this was, to be honest, a little thick for most people is probably normal, or very close to it for OP. I have a friend like this. She was a guest at my wedding. She behaved exactly as I expected her to. Lots of dramatic makeup, but I wasn't butthurt about it because A, I don't care, and I loved the makeup that I'd done for myself. It was much less dramatic than hers. And B, I don't expect people to read my mind. Totally different story if sister-in-law had asked her to tone it down. I think sister-in-law is upset and she didn't like her makeup as much as she thought she would. I hardly wear makeup like the sister-in-law, but I knew I wanted a professional for my wedding. I figured it was my one excuse for a professional makeover, and would have regretted not doing it. So yeah, sorry for the extended comments on this one, but, the arguments are all over the place for this one. I personally am going to stick to the not the a-hole judgment for that. It kind of felt like there wasn't enough communication going on, and they kind of just trapped OP by not explicitly saying, do not wear that much makeup, I'm not cool with you wearing that much makeup. They let her go to the wedding wearing that makeup, knowing that she would do it, and then chose to get pissed off at her afterwards. I feel like that's their fault, and that's not OP's fault. I'm sticking to my guns with not the a-hole for this one. Our next post is by user I'm Actually the Grinch, titled, Am I the a-hole for yelling at my dad, 51 male, and calling him a monster for what he gave my sister, 30 female, as a Christmas gift? Now, my 28 female sister Amanda never met her bio mum. My dad, 51 male, raised her alone until she was barely 1. My dad and my mum got married in 1992. Amanda knew that my mum wasn't her bio mother. She started pressuring my dad for information on her mum when she was around 17. My dad always gave her vague answers and refused to talk about her bio mum, which put a strain on their relationship. Enter our uncle, 49 male, and he revealed the family secret. Apparently, Amy's mum wanted an abortion. She was 19, but my dad and his parents were able to bribe her. They offered her money if she followed up with a pregnancy, and she accepted. My grandparents sold one of their houses and gave her half of that money to Amy's mum when the pregnancy was viable, and the other half she received when she waived her parental rights over Amy to let my mum adopt her when she was 4. My uncle wasn't supposed to tell her that. My grandparents were furious. Amy stopped her crusade to meet her bio mum, and her relationship with my dad went back to normal. Amy never mentioned her bio mum again. A month ago, Amy found out that she was pregnant. The pregnancy was an accident. She switched birth controls. The problem being, Amy is about to start her surgical residency, and her hours are insane. It's basically impossible to raise a baby while working in that rhythm, so she wanted an abortion. The problem is that Mark, 35 male, her fiancé of 6 years, wanted her to keep the baby. It caused a big fight. In a dick move to convince Amy to keep the baby, Mark told Dad about this. Until that point, no one in our family knew about this. Dad talked with her, and they got into an enormous fight. Amy went and got the abortion 10 days ago. Mark ended up breaking up with her, and she's obviously really sad. My dad was acting like a jerk. He was pretending that Amy didn't exist. He didn't want to talk or see her. So, on Christmas Day, we were exchanging gifts. And when everyone had already finished giving each other gifts, Dad got up and gave Amy her present. He gave her an envelope in front of everyone and told her to open it. It was 3 pictures with something written on the back, a name, an address, and a phone number. Dad told her that he was tired of babying her, that this is a photo of her bio mum and her 2 sons. That was her bio mum's address, and that he contacted her bio mum, and she is willing to speak with Amy. He gave her Amy's number. Dad thinks that they will have a great relationship since they are so similar. Oh, you fucking asshole. Amy broke down crying. I ended up in a fight with Dad, calling him a monster for doing that to her, and he just said that he was just tired and left. We ended up leaving, and she spent the rest of Christmas crying on my shoulder. She's a mess since that. My younger brothers called me a Grinch for making a scene and ruining Christmas. My mum was silent during the whole thing. My parents have been giving me the cold shoulder since Christmas. Am I the a-hole here? And edit, Amy is short for Amanda. That was so cold. And everyone else putting this on OP for standing up for Amanda? What the fuck is their problem? That was seriously ice cold saying that, since they're so similar. There's no justification for that. He went in for the kill shot, and, everyone else enabling the dad and protecting him, they are just as bad. They are pond scum. They are lower than filth to me for standing up for that. You and Amanda don't need to be treated like this. I would leave that house. Go find somewhere where you're not going to be treated like garbage from these people. Not the a-hole for standing up for them. You did the right thing. In the comments, Catmick14 says, not the a-hole. It sounds like you and your sister are the only ones not acting like a-holes here. Here is why every single other person involved is an a-hole. 1. Her ex-fiancé is an a-hole for trying to use her father to control her. 2. Y'all's dad is an a-hole for berating her about something that was none of his business, and then using Christmas as an opportunity to further lash out at her. 3. Your mother is an a-hole for standing by and not saying jack crap while he did it. And 4. Finally, every younger brother who thinks you are the issue here is an a-hole, because you are clearly not the one that made a scene. That would be your father. No Passenger 6511 replies, you made an excellent point of that situation. In point 2, I would add that he deliberately waited for Christmas Day to criticize her in front of everyone. I'd also add, Amy doesn't owe her father anything for existing. Her life isn't a gift from him or something he purchased by pressuring and briding a young woman, her mother, who obviously wasn't ready to have a child. The fact that she was born doesn't afford him or anyone else the right to control or dictate how she lives her life now. The circumstances of her birth have no bearing on her right to bodily autonomy or her right to make her own decisions. Amy wasn't ready for a baby. Her body, her choice, her life, it's that simple. The father is a monster on this one. His behavior is abusive, and babying her here is code for controlling her. If I were Amy, I'd be exercising my right to make my own choices by ending my relationship with my father. I feel the same. This father does not deserve to be called a father, and the mother can be crowned as the most spineless of them all. What a terrible and dysfunctional family. Opie, you are not the a-hole. I'm glad Amy has your support while she heals from this attack by basically both of her parents' and ex's betrayal. She did what she needed to do for herself, and I hope her healing excludes her parents. And Type 1 Error says, oh my god, women are not baby-making machines. Whatever their views on abortion, your father had no right to rub her decision in her face. He clearly has no respect for women, something that your brothers seems to have inherited. Good on you for standing up for your sister. You are not the a-hole. You're a wonderful sister and a badass. What do you guys think of this one? Sorry for the use of colourful language. I like to use it here and there, but we know what YouTube's like. I think it's very clear on this one, but I'm sure there's, conservative viewpoints on these ones where it can be subjective on what people think about, you could be the a-hole for this, that, and the other. I'm just giving my opinion on this one, and Reddit has an opinion of their own. It looks like it's heavily not the a-hole. I'd love to know what you think in the comments. And our last post today is by user XMAhole111. Titled, Am I the a-hole for bringing my fiancé to Christmas despite my famous cousin's wishes? My cousin is very famous. Yes, you've heard of him, and no, I won't tell you who he is. When we have family functions, mainly for holidays, Terry likes for them to be only family so he can be himself and get drunk and pass out on the couch and share Hollywood gossip with us. Otherwise, he feels like he's being interviewed and having everyone talk to him or want a picture, and he has to be in promo mode. He said it's because he was tired of having to meet strangers and not be able to let loose, and there were some issues of these partners taking pictures of him or spreading gossip. I hated this at first because I would be dating some chick and she would want to get to meet him, and it's awkward to tell them they can't come to family events, and they get mad that they never get to meet him. My Tinder has a pic of me with Terry, but I get it, so I was fine with it until this year. I began dating this chick in August. I couldn't bring her to Thanksgiving. Fine. But when I walk in, I see another cousin, Danielle, has brought her boyfriend Steve, even though they've been together for less than a year. They got together over New Year's and engaged on Halloween. Terry was fine with this because he's met Steve before. Old family friend, even though I've been told that no exceptions are allowed to his rule. Thanksgiving sucked because the whole time I was mad that I once again wasn't allowed to bring my girlfriend. My girlfriend consoled me after, and I realized that she's my soulmate. 2 weeks ago, I proposed and we got engaged. Christmas was at my aunt's, and I'm a believer in ask for forgiveness, not permission. So I brought my fiancée because she had nowhere else to go, and I wanted her to meet my family. We walk into the house and all hell breaks loose. Everyone was asking who she was and scolding me about the rules, and Terry flipped out. He was already buzzed and looked 20 pounds heavier than he usually presents himself, and started yelling at me for doing this to him. He didn't seem excited at all about my engagement or willing to introduce himself to her. Our grandma was telling Terry to get over it and asking to see the ring and saying that she wished she had gotten my fiancé a gift, so grandma was on my side. But Terry was still arguing with me and said I shouldn't be allowed at any more events, and he ended up calling an Uber Black and leaving before we even ate. To top it all off, my uncle, who has never even liked Terry, got upset because apparently Terry was a secret Santa, so he didn't get a gift, so my uncle started blaming me for ruining Christmas. I get they're mad, but it was clear that there was an exception for fiancés, and I'm embarrassed that my family was so rude to her when I just didn't want her to be alone on Christmas. Am I the a-hole? Dude, his comments are so wild. I'm gonna read them before giving you guys an evaluation. You don't really need context for these, you can kinda guess the context of some of them. He says, "My matches skyrocket when I have a picture with him. Just trying to level the playing field on the apps as a guy. I didn't tell them about the engagement because I knew they would be critical because my previous engagement didn't end up working out. If I had told them, they would have told me not to come, or Terry wouldn't have shown up and everyone would have been sad because he's the favorite. And my new fiancée isn't like my previous one. She's definitely not a fangirl and has only asked a few times about getting a picture with him." Prairie Mountain Zen says, "How many times have you been engaged?" "Twice before. Once when I was 19 and an idiot, so that didn't work out. Then again later on and I thought she was the one, but it ended when she sent a story about my cousin to TMZ to make a quick buck. Hence, Terry's rule." Well, that was very relevant information that you conveniently left out. Oh my god. She's a photographer/model, so it'd be good if she could take pictures of and with him, but it's not like a priority or anything, just like, oh wow, when I get to meet him, I'd love to get a picture with all of us. She made 6 figures from Instagram and OnlyFans this year alone, so it's not like I date total nobodies. She understands the lifestyle. And update, reading the comments, there's a mixed response, but it looks like the consensus leans towards I was the a-hole. So yeah, I probably could have handled it a bit better. And people are writing me for not including every detail on the post, but there was a word limit. Also, I'm not from Massachusetts, and never heard the term man asshole before posting this. The username is from Christmas, the holiday, and asshole the subreddit. Nobody has correctly guessed who Terry is, and I won't respond to any more guesses. And I don't use his picture to get girls. I literally have a Raya, so I have no issues in that department. Sounds like a fucking liar to me. Anyway, nobody talked to me yesterday, but I found out this morning that all is fine. Terry called me to apologize for making a scene and congratulated me on my engagement, and I accepted his apology. He also told me he went back and visited with family yesterday and gave my uncle his gift from Secret Santa, so Christmas isn't ruined for him. As for my fiancée, she handled it all really well, even though it was a rude and awkward way to meet my family, and my aunt made rude comments about her outfit. She also had the idea that we should have the family over for New Year's to make it up to them. So yeah, everybody was a bit dramatic, but no harm was done. I think that's all the comments we need to read. I don't think we need other people's opinions on this one. He kind of tells the entire story for us here without us saying anything. But my opinion on this one is that this guy's an asshole. He knew what he was doing here. He just wanted to obviously break the rules first and then ask for an apology later, knowing what he was doing. It's obvious that he uses his cousin to get girls. If you're using the pictures to get more matches, you are obviously using it to get girls. That is not an argument. And I don't buy the fact that these guys are soulmates. It really seems like an incredibly fortunate stroke of serendipity if that is the case. I think the writing on the wall here is that there is a model on Instagram that has an OnlyFans account that earns 6 figures that would like to use this opportunity as free promo and as a way to cause drama so there is more attention to her profile so that she can make more money. As seems to be the way when you are someone that is trying to become high profile. I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with that, but it is an occurrence that happens in this world. And if OP has had a streak of 2 engagements that have failed, and one of them caused this rule to come into existence, where they sold a story to TMZ, there is a pattern going on here, and I don't believe this update. I feel like it's damage control, and that's a figment of OP's reality. I feel like that's probably not what happened here. But if it did happen, more power to you, OP, and I'm surprised that they apologized to you. There was nothing that they had to apologize for, they were rightfully angry. Anyway guys, my judgment obviously is you're the a-hole for this one. I don't think the cousin is an a-hole or the family are a-holes for their reaction to all of this. Obviously people are going to take sides. But anyway, I'd love to know your comments, what your thoughts are on all these stories down below in the comments. Do let me know, because you guys have some funny stuff to say sometimes, that's for sure. If you guys enjoyed it, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next episode. I hope you have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to. Bye.